Hi everyone, I'm Miss Ozoda. Today our third lesson, but the second main lesson in our writing marathon. So today we're gonna cover maps and processes because I promised you last time in our last lesson that today you will be explaining process and maps. Of course, I should mention that maps and process, they are not very common in your IELTS writing exam. However, sometimes you got such kind of questions, but a lot of students prepare only for line graph, bar graph, pie chart and table, but they forgot about maps and processes. So that's why today we're gonna cover this one in detail, and I will explain you everything about them. So first of all, I want to show you some examples of maps and processes. So actually, what is a map? Here you have two pictures, as you can see. Here, for example, you have Stockford in 1930 and Stockford in 2010. In maps, you usually should compare two pictures in the past, their old infrastructure, their, how to say, their appearance, and also their appearance now or these days or in certain year. So that means you have 2 years, sometimes you have 3 years. If I'm not mistaken, you are usually given up to 3 or 4 years, and you should describe these pictures, you should compare them, and you should thoroughly explain the changes that happened here, that took place here. Okay, so what does it mean? Process. So process is a step-by-step guideline that can show you your actions. For example, first action, second action, third action, and your last action. Here you can see a process. So the diagram below shows the process of milk production. As you can see here, we are given different lines that show, for example, first action, second action. Here we have cows grazing, second one is milking machine twice a day, next one is refrigeration storage, and milk tanker daily delivered to dairy. So as you can see, we are given different steps. So the second picture is how to make a cup of tea. So as you can see, we have 8 steps, and 8 steps should be thoroughly explained in your report, because actual process is also academic writing. As you know, the examiner will pay attention, first of all, will pay attention to your overview. And now, first of all, I will explain you the structure, general structure of your map, okay? So this one is introduction, I shorten it, this one is intro. As usual, in your task 1, introduction should be paraphrased, the question should be paraphrased, and that's it. And this one is your introduction. For example, this one is your question. The maps below show the village of Stockford in 1930 and in 2010. So how we can paraphrase this one, this question? So for example, we can say the maps illustrate how the Stockford village changed over the period of 80 years. And you should use brackets 1930 till 2010. So this one is your introduction. And it's very simple. You can practice at home. You should paraphrase it, not every word, but the general structure. For example, instead of using active voice, you can use passive voice. Sometimes you can play with years also, and also with the question word. For example, I added how. Next one is, here we have overview. Like what are you going to write in your overview? It is actually, well, for most people it's not very easy to write down overview because they don't see anything, like they don't see any kind of points, like general points. So that's why overview, the first thing that you should write down, this one is overall change. What kind of overall change? So for example, first of all, you should mention biggest change to the west, biggest change to the east, to the north, to the south, and also the second is areas with specific developments. Areas with specific developments means, for example, there were big changes in terms of buildings, in terms of green zone, for example, in terms of natural part of the map. The third thing that you should pay attention, this one is things which remained unchanged. So sometimes maps are not changed fully. Maybe half of the map is changed, for example, there are very minor changes in terms of buildings, in terms of roads, and there are sometimes natural part of the map, for example, bridge, river, such kind of things cannot be changed at all. So if you want, you can mention about them. However, this one is optional. So that's why I have written down this one in in blue marker. So that's why. When it comes to details paragraph, it's actually not very difficult as line graph or bar graph, because here you don't have to analyze anything. For example, different lines or bars, but in maps you should use the language of comparison, and also you should know what does it mean north, east, south, and west. Actually, in my first lesson, it was it was a new topic for me, even though I was good at geography actually, but I didn't know about these sites, so that's why you should also know about them. It's highly recommended, because whenever you are writing your detailed paragraphs, it's very important to use this language. So for example, okay, let's read this overall. I will show you on my screen. So overall, a comparison of the two maps reveals that Stockford became more urban and less rural. The most striking development throughout the period was in terms of accommodation and transport infrastructure. That's it. And here it is very simple, very understandable, and I really like the usage of vocabulary. For example, became more urban and less rural. And the most striking development, as you can see, it is not something supernatural. It is actually intermediate level, upper intermediate level, but it is very easy to write down overall. Please at home try to write down introduction and overall first of all, then you can move to details paragraph. Most students ask me how to group their data. We have two steps. The first one is, first of all, you should your picture should be divided into two parts, changed parts and unchanged parts. The second step, but the second option is you should divide your map into two lines. You need only one line, but you should divide into north and south, for example, west or east, for example. So it can be very useful, because sometimes a lot of changes happen not only to the north. But sometimes unchanged place is the south. So you should first of all analyze this picture, and you should decide which one is more comfortable for you. Now let's see the whole essay together. I will read it for you and I will explain some important places, because as I said before, map is not difficult at all. The maps compares the developments in a town center from 1700 to 2020. Overall, a comparison of the two maps reveals that the area has become more urban and less rural. The most significant change can be observed in terms of road infrastructure. This one is our introduction and overview. Let's see our detailed paragraphs. Despite significant reforms in many places, some areas have experienced no change. The natural part of the town center, river, and the bridge over it. Additionally, the market square at the heart of the town and the church to the right of it have remained unchanged. However, the most noticeable changes have occurred in terms of roads. The erection of concrete roads throughout, the addition of traffic lights on Stagel Road, a roundabout on High Street linking it with St. Peter's Lane, and the making of Market Street more pedestrian-friendly. When it comes to residential areas, Goody Farm to the north of the town has been cleared to make room for a number of houses and a car park for their residents. Similarly, houses in the northeast have been demolished to build more houses and a block of flats, while the shops south of the town have been extended. So, as you can see, this one is our map. So now I will explain some very interesting moments here. For example, the first one is a comparison of the two maps reveals that. Instead of using showing, comparing all the time, you can say reveals. Next one is the most significant change can be observed, not can be seen as usual, we can say can be observed. Next one is despite significant reforms. So what does it mean, reforms? Reforms means developments or improvements. Next one is the natural part of the town center. Natural part, as I said before, this one is bridge or river. Next one is additionally. So additionally, we can also say in addition, moreover, such kind of linking words, which be sent to our channel later, after the lesson. Next one is at the heart of the town. Instead of using city center, we can say downtown or at the heart of the town. And the church to the right of it have remained unchanged. Great. Next one is the second detailed paragraph. The most noticeable changes have occurred in terms of roads. In terms of roads, good phrase for your task 1. Next one is also you should know different vocabulary related to construction. For example, erection, concrete roads, also residential areas, roundabout. Next one is here we have pedestrian friendly. What does it mean, pedestrian? Something related to people who are walking in our streets. So this one is pedestrian. So it is a very, very useful word, because actually in your maps you usually describe your city, not your city, but cities or towns. So that's why you should know these details. Next one is residential areas. Residential means where people can live. Next one is town has been cleared to make room for. Make room for means here they have a space for something. Next one is their residence. That's okay, that's simple. Okay, actually this is our the whole map, so essay. I really hope you understand this one. And let's move to process. I will not explain you like the introduction and like detailed paragraph one more time because they are almost the same as in every task one report. But actually in process we like need to know something about overview. So in overview, the most important factors are the number of stages or the sets of stages, and the second thing is equipment, because like in process we cannot like generally explain something that is happening in our picture, for example like how to make a tea, how to make a coffee. So that's why the two most important things are here. Please like write down if you are taking notes. And now like let's analyze our picture. So today we will talk about like how to make a tea. As you understood, I really like this topic, but actually I like coffee. But now as you can see, we have a picture. The flow chart illustrates the process of making a cup of tea. Overall, it is clear that there are two sets of stages in the process of making tea. Those in the kettle and those in the cup. The process doesn't require overly complex equipment and takes approximately 10 minutes to complete. The initial stages of making a cup of tea all happen in the kettle. In the first stage, a kettle is filled with water from a tap. Next, after the kettle has been plugged in, it boils in 5 minutes. The stages that require a cup now begin. While the kettle is boiling, a tea bag is placed into a cup. Hot water is then added to the cup. Before removing the tea bag, the tea should be left to draw for 5 minutes. Finally, having added sugar and/or milk, the tea is ready to be drunk. Okay, as you can see, they were very easy to write down, but it seems to be very simple. But at home, you should practice. Without practice, you cannot achieve your desired score. So today I just showed you how to write, how to use this structure. At home, you must analyze everything, you should take notes, and you should do everything in order to increase your score. So the last thing that I want to mention today is a band descriptor. Many students think that we don't have any band descriptors, like examiners assess this like in their own way. Yes? No, we have a public band descriptors. We will send to our group our two files for task 1 and task 2, and at home you should analyze what do we need in order to get 6 from task achievement, like cohesion, coherence, grammar, and lexical research. So for example, for 6, 7, 8, and 9. Everything is explained very clearly, and you can read it at home, and you should take some notes, but please work with band descriptors. So it will help you to navigate yourself towards your desired score. Thank you very much for your attention. I really hope you get something useful, and as a homework, you should find a lot of maps and processes, but I should also mention that this one is not common topic, so that's why you should also pay attention to line graphs, bar graphs, tables, and pie charts. So that's why, be attentive, please take notes, and the second homework, you should study, you should learn every material which was sent to group, especially band descriptor. You should exactly know what do they need from you. For example, what do they require in order to mark, for example, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I really hope you like it. Thank you very much one more time, and goodbye. See you next lesson.